Have you ever looked up from your phone and just wondered where the last hour went? Today, we're diving into a question that, let's be honest, hits pretty close to home for a lot of us. Is social media literally stealing your life? We're going to break down the deliberate designs that keep you hooked, the very real costs to your well-being, and what the actual data says about trying to quit.
So think about this for just a second. That moment you find yourself bored, waiting in line, in between tasks at work. What's the very first thing you do? Is it to look around? Or is it to look down at your phone? That tiny, almost automatic gesture, well, that's exactly what we need to unpack today.
This feeling of endlessly scrolling, it's something so many of us recognize, right? It's not really about learning or connecting anymore. It's just about filling those empty moments. But here's the crucial thing. If this feels like some kind of personal failing, like a lack of willpower on your part, you need to know that it's not. This is a recognized, well-documented behavioral phenomenon. In fact, researchers actually have a formal name for it, a behavioral addiction. We're talking about an uncontrollable urge to log on that can lead us to neglect our real-world responsibilities and relationships. It's that point where scrolling stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling more like a compulsion. So how on earth did we get here? What's the engine driving this whole thing? To really understand this compulsion, we need to pop the hood and look at the engine that powers it all, the attention machine. Because you see, the way our social feeds work today is radically different from how they started out.
I mean, think back to the early days of social media. Your feed was simple, wasn't it? It was based entirely on who you chose to follow. You curated it. But that whole model has been thrown out the window. Today's feed is curated by an algorithm, and that algorithm has only one goal: to predict what will keep you watching for as long as humanly possible. The mission has shifted from connection to pure consumption.
And just how dramatic is this shift? Well, get this. According to Meta's own testimony, by 2025, only 7% of the time we spend on Instagram will be spent looking at content from people we actually follow. Let that sink in for a second. That means that 93% of your feed is designed by a machine, not by you. And it's all made possible by a few brilliantly manipulative design choices.
One of the most powerful tricks in the book is the infinite scroll. Remember when websites had a next page button? That was a natural stopping point, a little moment to decide if you really wanted to keep going. Well, the infinite scroll was designed specifically to eliminate that moment of decision. It creates this bottomless river of content, making it frictionless to just keep on scrolling.
And here's the crazy twist. The guy who invented the feature, Asa Raskin, he deeply regrets it now. He thought he was just making things a bit smoother for the user. He was, in his own words, completely blind to how it would be used on a global scale. Not for people, but against them, to exploit our very psychology for profit.
And all of this serves a really simple four-step business model. First, hold your attention. The longer they have it, the more ads they can show you. The longer you watch, the more data they gather on your habits, your interests, even your deepest fears. And finally, they use all that data to sell increasingly precise and much more expensive targeted ads. It's a perfect machine for converting human attention into cold, hard cash.
So that's the machine. But what's the actual cost of feeding it all our attention? Well, it's way more than just wasted time. Researchers have identified a really clear triad of consequences that affect our minds, our relationships, and even our bodies. And this isn't just guesswork. A comprehensive review in the International Journal of Indian Psychology pulled together findings from tons of studies to paint a really clear picture. It breaks down the harm from social media addiction into 3 distinct but totally interconnected areas. Okay, first up, there are the psychological costs. Study after study consistently links heavy social media use with higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. It can somehow make us feel more lonely, even as it promises connection. And it drives this relentless, brutal cycle of social comparison, all while chipping away at our ability to just focus on one thing. And this brings us right back to that quote from the beginning, that feeling of being absolutely worthless while scrolling at 1 a.m. That right there is the social comparison effect in real time. You're consuming this perfectly curated highlight reel of hundreds of other lives and stacking it up against your own raw, unedited reality. It's a recipe for misery. Then we have the social consequences. And here's the real irony.
The platforms built for connection often lead to isolation. The more time we pour into our screens, the less we have for the real, messy, face-to-face interactions that actually build strong relationships. It strains families, weakens our social skills, and feeds that constant fear of missing out that keeps us glued to the screen in the first place.
And finally, there are the physical costs. The blue light from our screens messes with our sleep. The constant staring causes digital eye strain, and research has even linked heavy use to impaired cognitive function and poor eating habits. So the cost is undeniable. It hits our minds, our relationships, and our actual physical bodies.
All of this begs the obvious question, right? Should we just quit? Is a digital detox the magic bullet we're all looking for? It's a super popular idea, but let's see what the data actually says about whether it really works. Let's just put it plainly. If you unplug, if you take that detox for a week, maybe a month, will it make a real, measurable difference in your mental health? It's the question so many of us are asking, and thankfully, researchers have been digging in to find the answer. So, in 2024, researchers published a major meta-analysis. That's basically a study of studies, which combined all the results from 10 different experiments on this exact topic. And that gives us our clearest picture yet of what really happens when people take a break. And the results are, well, they're fascinatingly specific. A digital detox showed a clear, statistically significant drop in depressive symptoms. That's a huge win. But, and this is a big but, for overall life satisfaction and general stress levels, the analysis found no significant change. So the verdict here is nuanced. A digital detox isn't some magic wand that's going to fix your whole life, but it does seem to be a really targeted tool. It appears to be highly effective at cutting off those specific negative inputs from social media, the constant comparison and FOMO that are known to fuel depression. So where does all this leave us? We've seen the machine, we've seen the costs, and we've seen the kind of sort of solution of a detox. The final question is, how do we move forward from here? How do we start to reclaim our own attention? This quote, for me, just perfectly captures the core of the entire problem. That feeling of pain or dissatisfaction so often comes from the gap between what you truly value, maybe that's creativity, your family, or nature, and where your attention is actually going, day in and day out. The whole goal is to close that gap. And the research points to a pretty straightforward 3-part strategy for taking back control. It starts with managing your time, setting conscious limits. It continues with improving your digital literacy. Simply understanding the machine, like we've done here, gives you so much power over it. And finally, it means intentionally scheduling real offline activities to reconnect with what you value most. Which brings us right back to the ultimate question. Now that you've seen the engine, the cost, and the data, ask yourself again with this new perspective. If you could build a life completely, totally free from social media, would you? The answer, of course, is yours to decide.